Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Knuckle Dragon Billy Goat Review with Mike and Josh. I'm Mike.
I am Josh.
And today we've got to hit up a fresh topic that kind of hit home with a lot of different people and got a lot of backlash. So we're going to talk about the Canadian trans boy who's a famous drag queen at this point. His name is Nimis Quinn Melancon Golden, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Not sure. But that's his name. He goes by Queen Lactatia or Lactatia. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Clearly, he did not make this name up for himself. I don't think he wants to be known as the lactating queen.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like we talked about before the show started. The kid wanted to be like Rumblebee or like Death Unicorn or something cool like that, and the parents were like, "Oh no, let me call you Queen Lactasia."
I know. I don't know any 10-year-old boys that would want to be Queen Lactasia or Lactadia. Doesn't even really make sense to me. Not to say that there aren't any boys out there like that, because they can be feminine and they can have flamboyant names and want
Yeah,
to
but
be
what?
girly
But,
in
what-
certain
but
aspects.
wouldn't you even think it'd be like Blooming Lotus or like Purple Unicorn or something like that? I mean, this is like a 9-year-old kid.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he got the name lactating. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I'm not sure if it's like a. I mean,
somebody else thought of it.
oh, definitely, and it's like the name you brought up. It's a French name. He's French Canadian, or the child's French Canadian. Sorry, I don't mean to put any labels on said child, but
You're
oh
in a
my,
safe zone. Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, what in the hell?
Yeah. So a little bit of backstory really quick. Okay. So this now 10-year-old boy, um, what should we call him? Should we just call him Queen? Should we call him by his drag name this whole time? Queen Lactasia.
Yeah, I guess for the pure silliness of it.
So this 10-year-old drag boy, Queen Lactasia, got a lot of backlash. Okay. So he's done a lot of drag appearances and he's won some shows. But he got a lot of backlash for the one that he did where he posed nude with one of Ron Paul's drag race winners, Violet Chachiki, and I'm going to butcher that name too. But basically, they were on the cover of a magazine and they posed nude together with just a mere cloth covering their genitals, and they immediately got a lot of backlash for that. Which it's obvious, there's a clear double standard there where no one would ever put their daughter in that situation, and nobody should ever put their son or um, queen in that situation. And, and there's just a huge double standard there and a little bit of a backlash for the exploitation of a minor.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I don't know what Canadian laws are like. I really don't. But I mean, come on, man. I mean, why is not DFS into this? You know, why are they not investigating at very least? I mean, I'll put the disclaimer out there. I don't have any problem with kids dressing up however they want to dress up or whatever they
no,
identify as. My problem is the parents. And a lot of this is just from parents, just conditioning and grooming and saying, oh, no, you're not going to be Queen Rumblebot. You're going to be Queen Lactasia or Queen Infamil or something like that. It is,
yeah,
the outside influence on it, if you're, that's what, that's what really gets me. You're going to get me on a tangent here, Mike. You're going to get me
no, go ahead,
all
buddy.
turned up. But a lot of times parents, with their children, they want to say, well, I don't influence them. I want them to make their own decisions. But on the back end of that, they are so self-directed and the kids' actions, you know what I'm saying? You always see those parents like,
Right.
I want little Jimmy to be, just do whatever makes him happy. And they're like, you will be a doctor. I just
Yeah.
I just don't get it. But the one thing it gets me too is just the sexualization of it all, to be quite honest with you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's the only thing that got me on it is the sexual exploitation of it. That's it. Literally, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with young boys and girls doing whatever they want. Girls have their pageants, boys can have their pageants too. But the moment it was sexualized, that's a problem for me. And I'm not sure why so many people are okay with it. I mean, we are in the US and this did happen in Canada, but there was another scenario where it happened in New York. And
Yeah,
the one in New York, they actually, stripper poles type style, and they threw dollar bills at this kid, and like, what is going on?
yeah. Funny you say that. That's actually one of the articles I have up here, and it's from an 11-year-old boy. This is the way the article's written. So all you social justice warriors out there, don't freaking go crazy on me. Danced on stage at a New York gay bar while grown men thrown dollars at him. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
That's just going to be my thing. I mean, I can understand. First of all, it's a bar. Don't you have to be 21 to be in a bar, anyways? Like
Yeah, I mean, the
I
bar
just can't,
environment is
I just
gross.
can't like take, yeah, I just can't take my kid to a bar. Like, here you go. Here's a little 8-year-old or 9-year-old I brought into the bar, and it's from this child named Desmond is amazing quotes.
Yeah, I saw that.
And there's videos here. I can't watch these videos, Mike. I don't know if you've watched any of these videos, but I just can't do it, especially like this. Like if it's just like a pageant with other children or something, yeah, I'm fine with that. That's like watching the stuff on TLC or whatever. But this, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot tell me like, why would people throw dollars at him and say, "Oh my god, that's so cute"? No, it's not. That's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. That'd be like you sitting there
Yeah.
drinking beer, like giving an 8-year-old beer, like, here you go, just drink beer. You're cool. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. You're so progressive. No,
Oh God.
that's what it comes down to. You're so progressive. I'm sorry. I'm pretty liberal on stuff, as you can tell, as comparison to you and some other folks. But dude, this is where I draw the line. Like, you absolutely cannot take a child into a bar, first of all. Second of all, why do you have them up on stage where adult exotic performers go? I'd be scared my kid to get some sort of disease. you know, it's not like the cleanliness of these places are like super duper high up. And then you have people, um, what should you do it? What should he say? Gosh, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, encouraging it, and that's fine to encourage somebody to figure out, hey, this is what I like to do. I like to dress as this, yada yada yada. I mean, we all dressed up as being cops or firemen or goat ropers or whatever
Yeah.
whenever we were kids. Everybody has that sense of play, but for me, where the delineation is and the demarcation line for me is whenever it's turned into something sexual, and this is obviously what it is. Because I mean, there's even a quote in here. What did they say here? Desmond's player. All right, I'll read this. This is out of like some article here. It says, though Desmond parents claim they're just letting him do what he wants, a therapist told him that it's healthy. In other words, if he enjoys dressing like a girl, being a LGBT icon, and performing in drag, let him. But it also says, this emphasis is added, right? I'll read this paragraph here and you tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Although he wants although he wants everyone to express themselves as genuinely as possible. Now this is bolded and italicized and all this. He is concerned about the growing trend of young teen and child drag performers to dress and act overly sexy or provocatively, much like their adult counterparts. He feels that it sends the wrong message about all young drag performers and results in added aggression, bullying, hatred, not only from society, but from the LGBTQ community itself. So, holy cow. I mean, even the community itself is like, we're drawing the line here. Like, we
Yeah.
don't want to see this shit.
Well, so that's the problem I have, right? Is, people live in their small little bubbles and it causes problems for other people. Okay. So it is totally fine. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago on another podcast. If you're comfortable being nude, in the home, and that's fine. You can't go do it in public, okay? Just because you're comfortable with it doesn't mean other people are comfortable with it, and it doesn't mean that you should be ignorant to the culture and the society around you. So yes, totally fine. This kid should be able to, dress feminine if he wants to, in the home and outside of the home. If he wants to go to school in a dress, wear heels, go right ahead, but do not pretend for 1 second that because you are comfortable with it and that he is comfortable with it, that society is going to be comfortable with it. And people can get mad about that and say, well, that's, you should be normalizing that and you shouldn't be looking down on it. He's just doing what he likes, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's totally fine. And some people get that. Other people don't get that. And I personally feel if you were to let this roll out and play out without any adult intervention, he would quit doing this. He would absolutely quit doing this. He would get to an age where he looks back and sees him on a stage doing this stuff, and he's just been bullied his entire life, and he's going to be like, I'm not sure why my parents let me do that. And he's going to become resentful of his parents. You know what I mean? That's just one aspect of it. I think his parents are normalizing this in a way for him that he doesn't understand at his age the repercussions this is going to have down the road for him. And I also think that he would eventually grow out of it. I think that's normal. But they shouldn't have sexualized it. I'm not sure why any parent would be okay with, son or daughter dancing for money, stripping down, or posing nude with an adult. Like, I understand they had fabric covering their genitals, but you're posing your child nude. You're giving the visual of nude, whether he is or not. You're making him look nude, and that okay. That's like the same as a little girl posing nude on the front of a magazine with another female nude person, and they've got pasties over their nipples, and she's 10. Like, I just don't understand. Like, that would never be okay, and I don't think it's okay for a boy either. And it's not because I'm anti-free nipple, and I think it's weird that people are nude. I don't. I think it's weird that we're exploiting minors for money while they're naked. That's a problem for me.
Yeah, definitely. And and here's the thing too. That I'm trying to look up the U.S. Justice Code on it. I'm going to take it a step further than you on this. I mean, it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Like, if you're going to have a pageant, like a RuPaul drag queen kids pageant or whatever, that's fine. That's perfectly fine because those kids are expressing themselves. It's not necessarily sexualized in a way. But whenever you take the kids into the strip club and you have them dancing on a pole and they're throwing freaking dollars at them, I just don't get it. And the funny thing is that the Department of Justice here says, and I'll read it. To me, it almost goes to the point of child pornography. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
absolutely. Absolutely.
and check this out. It says child pornography is a form of child sexual exploitation. Federal law defines child pornography as any visual description of sexually explicit conduct involving a minor, which is a person less than 18 years old. Images of child pornography are also referred to as child sexual abuse images. So, I mean, you could sit here and look, and I mean, just because the act isn't there, the simulation of an act as well, the simulation of somebody being nude, an adult around a child. I mean, to me, that borders on child pornography to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at it this way, right? It's I think people maybe don't view it that way because they're like, oh, look, he's having fun, he's smiling, he's laughing. Okay, well, I mean, that's potentially just conditioning. You know what I mean? Like, you do
Oh,
something for so
definitely.
many years and you become comfortable with it yourself, whether it's wrong or right. Okay, so people do things that are wrong and harmful. I mean, the sex trafficking trade, there's people who are committed to that and they think it's totally fine and normal. They've been in the system so long, they're just totally comfortable with it. They may be smiling on the outside and they don't recognize what's going on, but from the outside, that's you're still exploiting. You know what I mean? That's still a problem. You're not
Yeah.
changing society. You're not changing any culture by doing this. You're making people look at you like, are you being for real right now? Is this what we're doing? I mean, that's clearly your son, and he's taking his clothes off and having money thrown at him,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
he's your kid.
in what world is that right? You know, this in what world is it right? This is something like I usually don't get too tied up on this, but I can't fit my mind around it. Like, what situations is ever right? You have grown men throwing money. It's to me, it's like these guys that go to like Thailand and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah.
These guys that go to Thailand to have interactions with children. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. What happens if it was in the States? Same thing. You have these little girls dancing around, and you have these grown men and women throwing them money. What would happen there, Mike?
Oh, I don't know, but uh, I I don't foresee it being too far out in the future that happens. And I
Really?
think we also, oh yeah, I also think we got to remember too. Okay, so there's one little aspect here. So this kid's from Canada, so Canada does have different laws. Okay, so we can't harp too much on Canada. This is more from a excuse me, it's more from a individual perspective. You know, my personal morals and beliefs.
Well. Let me
But
stop you right. Let me stop you right here, Mike. The one that was throwing the dollars was actually in New York.
right,
The Desmond. So let's just focus on that since we live in America.
yeah. So it's just still so wrong. I don't get it, and I hate to say that. You know, nobody would let their daughter do that because that sounds like I'm giving a double standard, and I'm not. My point is, I think people view the male and female genders differently, and they shouldn't, especially at that age. At that age, you are a minor. You do not understand to the full capacity of what's going on around you. You don't understand adults' thoughts. Okay, just because you're in a friendly bar or a friendly strip club that has been deemed like this safe space for drag night or whatever, that doesn't mean that the people there aren't viewing that sexually. Okay. Just because you're doing something that you don't feel is sexual doesn't mean there isn't somebody else there that is viewing that sexually and can potentially be a predator who will follow you home, beat your parents to death, and then assault you. I mean, we live in a fucked up world. Like that stuff's not fake. Okay. That's real stuff. And people want to live in their little bubbles and feel like, oh no, it's totally fine. He's just expressing himself. Well, that's great. Express yourself. But you're exploiting your child when you have him removing clothes on a stage in front of however many men and women, and they're giving him money. I mean, come on. Like, where is this okay? I just don't get it. Guy or girl, boy or girl, does not matter. That is so wrong for a minor. Even if they're 17, still not okay. After 18, I don't really have any say by law, right? So the
Right.
parents don't have any say by law. So I have to break that off at 17. But I would even suggest that up until the age of about 25, I mean, we all know the frontal lobe isn't done growing. You don't fully understand. You're not done growing as a human being. You know what I mean? Your mind has not fully developed. Is that
Right.
right? Isn't it like
Yeah, that's a
25?
yeah, on average, yeah, basically uh frontal cortex and lobes and all that stuff, all your decision making and parts of the brain like that aren't really fully developed till around 25. And I mean, you got plus or minus a few years on that. And I really like what you're talking about there. It's not right anyways, period. It's not right. I'm sorry, man, but here's what I want to explore down, Mike, is the culture. Let's just think like the last 20 years,
Well,
right?
well, what do you mean? What's not right? Either way, you said either way, it's not right
It's not right. I mean, you're
for any
exploiting
age, or just minors.
you're exploiting a child at the age of 18. You're legally adult in the United States of America. Do whatever you want without the harm principle, right?
Right,
If you're
right.
doing something that's not harming somebody, whatever, go for it. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like what you put on there. You know that it only takes one person to really mess this up. To really mess this up, like to have gruesome scene where parents are killed, kids assaulted and probably killed as well. And that
Yeah.
I mean, I'm granted that what that's probably worst case scenario, obviously, but at the same time, let's take this a step further, right? Nothing happens at the strip club. Let's say nothing happens there. You have these people that they're checking this out, and let's say 99.8% of them are like, okay, that's cute, whatever. And you have that 0.2%, right? 0.2% perpetuates that through other means, right? They go out and maybe they do
Right.
assault a child, or maybe they assault somebody else with that views of that. I mean, it just it just kills me. But I think as a society as a whole, we look for that shock factor, right? And it's been really noticeable. Like, let's just say the last 15 years, you have these little kid rappers like Little Tay and God, who's that? Catch Me Outside girl. Catch Me Outside. How about that? And we're
Oh
like, and,
God,
and these
yeah.
kids are millionaires, millionaires for being straight scum. Scumbags.
I
I'm
know,
gonna I'm
dude.
gonna say it right now. Scumbags. If you let your kid do that and you let it be on social media, you deserve all the shit you get for that. I'm sorry, you do. You deserve it. But we just sit there and we're like, we always want to one up. There's a one upness that goes on, particularly in American media society. I'm just talking like entertainment, reality shows, stuff like that. Things we see on the news every night. You could sit here and for every one of these little Desmond is amazing. There's probably 1,000 of these other kids trying to get famous on this. So what's the next logical step? I mean, you're at a strip club. You're posing next to nude folks. I mean, what's going to happen next? Or what are probably already happening now?
Yeah, I mean, where do we draw the line of what's okay, what's not okay? Because I think for me that drags the line really, really close to not okay at all. I mean, it's just I'm still trying to wrap my head around why anybody would think this is okay. Now, I wasn't there, right? So neither one of us were there. Maybe this was just a couple friends at the bar. Okay, maybe it wasn't open to the public. I don't actually know, and it doesn't state that. So I'm comfortable saying that maybe there was something else that I didn't know. Okay, it could have just been a tight knit community for the drag, whatever. Still, for me, that is a minor. Okay, so whether it's family, I, I don't know. I still have a hard time wrapping my head around, even if it's a family. I was trying to find some okay area there,
No,
but I even
no.
think with just family members, if you're throwing money at a kid, I mean, you're giving them the wrong impression. Okay, you're normalizing that. I don't understand.
You know what? And we're getting really blurred lines on a lot of this stuff. Yeah, if the kid wants to dress up, let him dress up. But whenever it comes to a point of, um, I don't want to say sexualization, I guess is the word we want to use for this, more or less. But
Yeah, that's what it was.
these kids want to dress up like I wanted to dress up as a Ninja Turtle as a kid. Can you imagine your parents being like, "Well, you got to dress up like a Ninja Turtle every day, and you got to act like a Ninja Turtle, and this and that." And I get tired of it, but I'm still forced to be a Ninja Turtle and
Right.
try to normalize the behavior. And it almost um, it really brings for me on Stockholm syndrome, where somebody basically, emphasizes with their kidnapper, their abuser. And I think, and that's what's happening with a lot of this. This is abuse. I'm sorry, this is abuse. No parent in their right mind is going to take their kid to a bar except to get attention. I mean, obviously, this child got the attention that they wanted, good, bad, or indifferent.
Oh
But
yeah.
no loving parent is going to take a kid to a bar. I'm
To
sorry.
strip.
Yeah, no way. There's absolutely no way.
Like I'm not, I've got girls, so I try and think about this, not only from a female aspect. For if I had boys, I wouldn't even want to introduce them to the bar crowd until they were at least 21 or older. It's just a different mentality of crowd. You have full-blown adults mixing alcohol with whatever else they're doing, and you don't know these people. Okay, we've all been to bars. Okay,
What?
it's a different crowd. I mean, you don't want kids in there who don't understand things about life. Okay, you got I, and I know we're getting a little bit off topic here, but I mean, you got guys in there just groping people, bumping into girls, doing whatever to guys, vice versa. It's like a dog eat dog world in there, and it's no place. It's no place for a 10-year-old. I don't get that aspect of it. Not sure what's going on there.
I think a lot of it just comes to the society, the shock horror, sorry, shock slash horror of a lot of this stuff. It's somebody trying to one up somebody. If you want your kid to express themselves, fine, that's perfect. They're not hurting anybody, not hurting anybody else. But whenever you let them perpetuate, sexualization of this, that's what it is. I'm sorry, I don't care if anyone agrees with what I have to say with this, but that's exactly what it is. That is exactly 400% what it is. Well, let's dress them up like this so they feel pretty. Okay, there you go. You're already starting to sexualize right there. you know
Yeah.
and then going forward on a lot of this in New York, I'm surprised in New York you can't even buy a large soft drink. You know, I'm surprised you can have straws. You probably can't have straws. You can't own firearm basically, but lo and behold, you can take your kid to a bar and let them stand to a partially nude person, and that's not child abuse. I mean, come on.
It's getting real weird and twisted. Um, so I got a quote here from Queen Lactasia. um, and
Queen
this will
tit
just
milk.
yeah, and this will just show you where his mindset is at this point in life, and he's only 10. Okay, so this is a quote. This is exactly what he said. Okay, he goes, if you want to be a drag queen and your parents don't let you, you need new parents. Like, why is a kid saying that? I don't understand. Same with he said something similar about friends. Basically, says if you want to be a drag queen and your friends don't, you need new friends. I mean, so I understand that aspect of, you want to be surrounded by people, like-minded people, and if you used to have friends and they don't accept you for who you are, then you need to get rid of them. I understand that. But the whole parent thing, that's a little off-putting for me. My parents don't agree with me, so I need new parents. Well, that's not necessarily how that works, because you're a growing mind, and your parents should be teaching you and educating you on, normative societal behavior. And I'm not saying, gender roles and, you have to do this because you're a man, you have to do this because you're a woman. I'm meaning this kid needs to be explained that there are people out there that are viewing this very sexually and potentially getting off to it. I mean, that's the problem, especially getting money thrown at you. I mean, does this child understand, like, there's a whole industry surrounded just in this, not only adult pornography but child pornography, and this falls very close in the realm of child pornography the moment you're making a benefit, any type of benefit, whether it's profit or social, whatever it is. They made a benefit from him posing nude with another person, or posing nude in general. Doesn't even have to be with another person, just posing nude in general. Same with the New York case. They made a benefit off of that with that kid stripping in the bar. Like, what the hell? I don't understand. I'm trying to find like some gray area lines here where this would be okay in like a family situation, but who the hell has their kids strip in front of their freaking family?
Sickos that probably make child porn. That would be it. I'm going to take it. I like what you said there. This is a society we live in nowadays, right? If people don't align to your views on the world, well, you just need to forget these other people and go somewhere else. And that kills me. That kills me. You know what? I got friends and family that have a ton of different beliefs and do a lot of things that I might not agree with, and vice versa. I got a lot of beliefs and things I do that they probably don't agree with. But they're not saying, well, you need a new uncle, or I need a new brother, or I need a new mom, and I need a new dad. It pigeonholes a lot of this um, type behavior, and then they wonder why, well, people don't like me because of this and that or the other. No, you alienate yourself.
Oh
you
yeah.
there's an alienation that goes on here, and nobody looks at it that way. And we live in such a hypersensitive culture nowadays. Hypersensitive. Hypersensitive. I mean, you cannot say anything without somebody being like, well, actually, I read on chemicalsaregood.com that, all chemicals are great and I can just, drink all of them every day and be fine with it. It kind of went back to our fact versus opinion episode that we did a while back. And I just, people just, God, just listen. Take a minute, listen, form a, a very stated result to it. I don't care if you're 100% wrong. Stick with your guns. If you're 100%, if you think the world's flat, by golly, you tell me the world's flat until you die, or you change your mind. But
Oh
don't be like, well, yeah, I guess you're right. World's not flat. No. Like, dude, you spent like 30 minutes trying to make some sort of semi-logical explanation, and you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
yeah. Well, let me spin this off just a little bit, and we'll kind of step away from the 10-year-old for a minute, but it's still in the realm of what we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
So more increasingly, we've seen trans people, men to women, women to men. Have you seen the articles that come out when a transitioned man to woman gets pissed off because men don't want to date her because she's a guy? They get mad about that. They get pissed off because men aren't accepting them, and they're saying it's some poor cultural thing where it's disgusting that men don't want to date a woman just because I used to be a man. I'm like, you used to have a dick, or you still have a dick. Guys don't want to date girls because they look like girls. They want to date women because they're women. They have reproductive organs. They can make babies. Okay, they can prolong the longevity of their species and their DNA. You know what I mean? Their their family tree. Okay, they're not. Guys aren't looking to date a girl that has a dick sleeve. Okay. I mean, I don't understand why they would even come out and be mad about that. There was the one thing that happened, and I'm probably going to butcher this because I don't know the whole story, but basically it was a trans woman, male to female, and she leaned in to kiss this other guy on a talk show, and the guy like pulled away like, whoa, no. And the whole backlash there was, well, if it was a girl, it would have been okay. And he's like, well, you're not a girl, you have a dick.
Well,
So
it wouldn't have been okay anyways if the guy didn't want to kiss. It wouldn't have been fine anyways.
right,
You know,
so that's
but
another aspect. That's not right either
I
way.
hate these situations where like a certain tweak of it makes it right whenever inevitably it's wrong anyways. If you lean in and give somebody a kiss and they don't want to kiss, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, uh, whatever alien, dog, cat, whatever you are. It doesn't
Oh
matter.
yeah.
It's unwanted. But that's what we kind of get at too. Could you imagine this? All right, hey, we've all seen these pageant shows on TV, Honey Boo Boo and whatever, right? Could you imagine?
Sickening.
Yeah, could you imagine having Honey Boo Boo at one of these bars dancing on a pole for money? I mean, it would. I mean, the whole world would shut down.
Yeah.
Period. Would shut down. And I mean, that's what you know what, there's a lot of hatred and bigotry in this world, and I'm not going to deny that, obviously. But at the same time, I mean, what are you thinking? I mean, it is I'm really at odds with this topic today. You know, usually I try to find like a almost a counterpoint to what you talk about, but I think I'm like full speed ahead with you today, hand in hand, running down the Rainbow Bridge or whatever.
Well, it's like baby steps, right? I mean, we've seen this over the past decade with trying to make certain things more normative. And I think this is just one of them. Here comes the slow introduction of child drag queens. Okay, that's been happening for some time now, and now here's the ever slow, slight introduction of normalizing this in Canada, where oh, okay, he posed nude with another drag person because it's another drag person from the LGBT community. It's totally fine. I think it would have been way different, and people would have viewed it even worse. Or maybe this is the reason they did it this way. What if he posed with a straight male or a straight female? Would that have been viewed differently in the community of the LGBTQ community?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, to be quite honest with you. Let's see how many times I can say honest here. But honestly, there you go. I don't know if it would have been, but I think what you're getting at though is that it's normative behavior for the queens to be together.
Right,
And
right.
and,
They
and
like
I and
they
I hate to
protect their
sound that
own.
right. And it's fine because I'm here and I'm a queen, but it goes back to like even the ancient Romans. The ancient Romans had kids that they abused, for lack of better terms. You know what I'm saying? It was like,
Oh
here you
yeah.
go, like here's the kitty harem, and that's it. And they had to dress up a certain way. I just, dude, oh my gosh, I just don't get it. I know I've said it about 4,000 times. I really just don't get it. When is this right? First of all,
It,
it's
it's
not right.
not.
It's not right to take your kid into a bar. Okay. I don't care. It's not right to take your kid into a bar. Second of all, and what mind is it right to be like, hey, I know that strippers go on this pole. Hey, go spin around on this pole and take your clothes off for a bunch of adults here that are just sitting here and they're encouraging this behavior. There you go. You're encouraging a child to be a stripper. I mean, way to go. That's great
Yeah.
goals in life. I mean, that's just a stripping's just a means to make money to, you know, buy drugs. I'm sorry if there's any strippers that listen to this. You know, you guys do a
Nah.
valuable service, obviously, but
Yeah, don't
lay off,
stereotype.
yeah, lay off the meth pipe. You know what I'm saying?
Um, well, so let me give you a scenario that happens to me quite often around here, and I try not to be judgmental and think outside of the box. So, we'll be at a restaurant, and some father or mother or combined group will come in with their daughter, and the daughter will be wearing like some tight ass jeans with like a belly shirt, and she's clearly under 18. Okay. So I look at that and I go, okay, why are you letting her wear that? Then I step back for a second and I go, okay, look, maybe I shouldn't impose my views of what I would want my children to wear in a public setting at that age, or at any age, on them. So I try and think for a second, like, okay, maybe that's normal for them, and that's totally fine, and I shouldn't view it, in that way because of my own personal view. So I try and think outside of the box for a second, but then I go to myself again. I'm like, but there are people in society who will look at that and 100% sexualize a younger child because they're wearing a belly shirt. They'll look at their stomach. They'll do whatever. They have a predetermined image in their mind because they're twisted, right? And they will just sexualize that person. And whether you want to accept that or not, whether you're wearing that type of clothing because you want to be viewed sexualized or not, that doesn't matter. You could be wearing it with the best intentions possible, and there are still people out there who are going to do that. Now, is that your fault? No, that's not your fault. There are definitely bad people, and I'm not saying you should change what you do because of bad people, but you need to be aware of it. And I'm really hoping that at least this child's parents are making him aware. That's a big problem for me. And if the parents are totally fine with putting this kid in front of a bunch of adults and cameras posing nude, I mean, I don't believe that he fully understands the repercussions that could come from this, not only from weird, creepy adults, but later in life when he goes back and views this himself and goes, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" And it's going to come up later. You know what I mean? I am 100% sure this kid is getting busted on in school if he's not homeschooled already.
Oh, it has I'm fairly certain the kid's homeschooled, and I have never seen it.
Oh, it shows.
I hadn't seen a dad around.
That's
Wah
true. I haven't.
wah.
I haven't. Yeah, that's true. I actually haven't read anything about the father. Everything I saw was coming from the mom. The mom was pretty much saying everything.
I mean, there and if there is a dad and he lets this happen, that's double shame, man. Double shame. If you're the father of Queen Nimbus Corleone, lactose intolerance, whatever, whatever the name is, I mean, you got to step in. I mean, what if you're in a situation like that? If you sat there and your significant other's like, oh, I'm letting little Billy go to the drag show, and it's little, Billy Bitch Tits is the name, or something like that. You're like, whoa, 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 what's going on? Where's the responsibility to care for the child and to make the decisions? This is kind of like we talked about earlier. Formatively, the brain isn't, completed until 25 ish.
Right.
But these are kids. You have to take. To me, it's like not giving your kid a coat. It's cold out. You don't give your kid a coat. DFS is going to come and be like, why don't you have a coat?
Right.
DFS has to be involved in this. And for you guys listening out there, I'm talking about the Department of Foster Services, basically child welfare types. And if they're not, shame on them. Shame on them. And you know what? This kid may have a great household, supportive, loving, all this. But the perception of a lot of things, it's kind of like you brought up. And I know there's going to be people out there saying, well, oh my gosh, people get assaulted just because they're wearing these certain clothes, and it's not the clothes that get them assaulted. And you know what? And they're right. They're exactly right. But putting on the perception, is a reality to somebody.
Yeah,
And
you can't deny those people exist. That's my problem.
no,
Don't
exactly.
deny they exist because you're being ignorant to yourself.
Yeah, well, oh my God, I wore a mini skirt and this and that, and and this guy, blah 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 blah, or girl or whatever. You know what? It'd be like girls too. You're wearing a wife beater around, showing off a little taco meat, whatever, and and they sit there and you get assaulted as well. I mean, it just there's a lot that goes into it. And to answer your questions, I hate seeing parents that let their kids just wear whatever they want. And I'm not talking about goofy shit or anything like that, but if you got a 12-year-old wearing like a halter top and booty shorts, man, you need to like reevaluate your life. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, I see that
Now,
all the
now,
time,
now, if
man.
my
It's really frustrating.
now if my kid's 16 and they're paying for their own clothes, yeah, you know what? Maybe they can wear that somewhere. But at the same
But
time,
not with me.
nah, dude, not in my house. Like when you're 18 in one day and you're out of my house, you wear whatever you want. But I, I hate that people are just so they want to be
Well,
they want to be so PC about stuff, and I think a lot of times they just don't raise the hand and say this is inherently wrong. It's inherently wrong to have these children viewed in a certain way. It's inherently wrong to be like, well, here's our standards of beauty, and you're a high school kid, and you need to wear, booty shorts and this and makeup and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess my views have changed, obviously, and from my years of high school into having children of my own.
all girls.
Yeah, for shizzle.
Well, let me bring this to you because I read this and I don't know if it pertains to this particular drag kid, but I did read an article earlier this week, and basically a father, they were separated. It was a mom and the kid, and then the father. They had been divorced for some time, and basically the father reported the mother to whichever service. Basically, she was pushing this child to be like feminine, drag, either gay, but I don't know. I don't remember all the details, but basically he reported the mom for child abuse because he kept seeing his son like getting girlier and girlier, and they pretty much told him to F off.
They're like,
Like,
hey,
where does a guy go to get help for that?
yeah.
you know?
Well, what if you're the mom and you have a daughter that's becoming, for lack of better terms, butch? Like my daughter came home and she's wearing flannel and carrying an axe. Where do you draw the line on that?
She came home as the bounty man.
Yeah, like, ew.
Or is it Brawny? Is it Brawny?
Yeah, Brawny, the quicker picker upper, whatever it is. Anyways, I don't. Gosh, I just think a lot of this has to do with the way that the media is and the way social media is, and we see this all the time on social media. Like we could post this article right now, just right now, whatever one we want. Desmond is amazing, or our Quinn Lacticia, whatever,
Yeah.
French Canadian fuckhead. But there you go. I shouldn't say that. But people are gonna have their views on it, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh," and you're wrong. 50% of whoever looks at this is wrong. That's what it is nowadays. I mean, there's no objective thinking on a lot of this, and I'm like you. I can't find anywhere that this is right. I don't care. It's not right. It's not right. I'm sorry. If your kid wants to
No, it's
dress up,
not.
let them dress up. But if they're sitting there shaking their booty on a stripper pole in New York with in front of I assume men that dress up like women.
Well, let me ask this then. I mean, is there a so I guess this is more along the lines of why do you think this is happening? So do you think this is happening because um maybe people or family feel outcasted? I've never seen any like huge jock dudes, you know, in their 20s or at whatever age be like, I'm actually kind of a girl now. You just don't see like the pretty people or the popular kids. It always comes off as like the weaker person, or maybe they were outcasted. So is this like an attention grab for people? Do you think? I mean, this is all personal opinion, right?
Yeah.
Um, but what do you think? I mean, is this like a cry out, or is this like an attention grab? What are they doing? And why do you think they're doing it? Why is it becoming more prominent? Why are we seeing it
I
more?
mean, it's more so. It's like anything that you put in the media. You know what? I fully believe there are people that they feel that they were born the wrong gender or the wrong biological sex. They felt that they're born the wrong biological sex. So that you might have been born, biologically a woman, but you feel you're a man, and that's perfectly fine. Live as a man. I don't care. But you see it in the media, with Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner. That that really started a
Yeah,
lot
that
of
was
it.
weird. That was
That
really weird.
that was your popular jock. But I mean, I guess if you live with the Kardashians for like 30 years, you'd probably want to like chop your wiener off too. I would assume. But hey, Mike, here's one too. Check this out. We're kind of moving from the kids to this trans type movement, but there are like combat sports. We're talking like MMA, Muay Thai, stuff like that, where you know men that are transitioning to women are in there fighting, and they're huge, and they're like breaking skulls. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so not right because I'm not going to sit here and fight in the men's division because I'm gonna get my ass stomped. So I'm gonna go in here and beat up on some women,
Oh yeah.
and not just beat up, but like hurt."
Oh yeah. I mean, the men. Joe Rogan talks about this pretty heavily. He's got a lot of experience in it, and the strength difference between men and women is so outrageous. And you can go, you can take testosterone and go from a woman to a man and be a trans man. That's totally fine. If that's what you want to do, go right ahead. But the moment you think you can hop into a men's sport like that and fight in a men's division, you're out of your mind. I mean, you got to think the man has been having, lifelong testosterone, and he's been growing with this testosterone. You've been taking it for a couple years. You are not going to be anywhere near uh, the physical capacities of a man. It's just we are made completely different than women. Women are built completely different than men. You can look at the shoulders, you can look at hand size, strength, stamina. Okay, you can't just toss a woman into a man's sport; they'll get stomped all the time. And you can look at you can look at what is it? What's the one with the thing? Racket, ball, net in the middle. What's that called?
What, badminton or volleyball?
No, neither one of those. You're on a court. What's that stupid game called?
Tennis?
Uh, yeah, tennis. There you go. Yeah, I don't talk about tennis ever. So,
Yeah.
but no, Serena Williams came out and said, some reporter asked her like, "Oh, you've been the top one woman for however long, and how would you think you would do against this man?" And she was like, I would lose.
Yeah.
You just can't. They compete at different levels, and the guy that they asked her about was in like the top 100. He wasn't even the number one guy. She couldn't even beat like the top 100 guy, and she just understands that it's a completely different sport. I mean, she can outbeat women, but she would never be able to beat anyone near the top one guy. You just can't do it. They compete at different levels, and to ignore that, I mean, I see a lot of trans people ignoring that and saying like, "Oh, I'm just as much as a man." I'm like, no, you're not. Like your hand is like half the size of any other guy's hand, and it's just
Right.
not going to happen. I mean, you go into these, you're seeing trans people break world records all over the place. Well, they're not breaking it in their own category; they're breaking it in what they transitioned into. So if you have a guy transferring into a woman, he goes and competes in women's weightlifting or whatever the sport is, and he dominates. He breaks new world records, and they applaud this. They're like, "Oh, yay, good for you! I can't believe she's breaking all these women's world records." Well, it's a freaking guy. No shit. Like, duh.
You know what we need to
Okay.
do? We need to. There's no men or women sports anymore. Miller, it's just sports. Let them all
Well, you
play.
can't do
Let them all.
that.
No, let them all play. We want to be equal. Just let them all play, baby. I don't give a shit. Let
Could
them
you
play.
imagine? Could you imagine if there was like an affirmative action type deal where you had to have like a certain amount of women in an NFL team? You take one hit and just rip their head off. I mean, you don't see women transitioning into men and dominating men's sports.
No.
Never. You don't see that. But when you get
No.
a man that transitions into a women's sport, they are dominating. They're breaking world records, and not by like little numbers. They're doubling it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's big
Yeah.
numbers.
That's because they're a man.
uh, yeah, I mean, they still have a swinging dick. Okay,
Dude,
you're a guy.
this is disgusting right now. This the one we were talking about, this fight. It's Fallon Fox versus Tamika Brents. I assume the one named Fallon's probably a dude, but I am watching this fight and it is disgusting. I mean, this dude is just pounding the shit out of this other girl.
Oh yeah, she gets mauled. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
haven't
don't,
seen it. I just heard about it, but she gets mauled. I mean, it's
yeah,
just she
dude.
just gets destroyed.
It's 3 minutes. Like this dude should have stopped it like a minute ago. Like holy cow! And oh, dude,
Send me the link. I want to see it.
dude,
Send me the link. I got to see this.
this chick's heads. Holy cow! Holy cow! That's amazing. All right, so I guess in closing, Mike, what do we want to leave with here today?
Well, I'd say my final thoughts on this. I mean, I try and find some open-minded, open ground on this. Oh, there's that fight. I'll bring that up and watch that here in a minute.
Heck yeah.
My thoughts on it, is I tried to find some clear open grounds here and make it normal or okay in my own mind. But like I said, even in the home, I mean, there are things you can do in the home that is exploiting your kid. It is child abuse. I think most definitely the moment they started having this 10-year-old, take his clothes off, you know, dancing around the idea of stripping, the one in New York, um, whether the genitals are covered up or not, you're still portraying some sort of sexual, aspect to what was going on. People have been criminalized for far less for child pornography. Okay, if you have one nude picture of any gender child, that's a fucking problem. So it's really weird for me that a company as big as whatever magazine that was in, I don't remember off the top of my head, but to post that on the front of their cover and it would be totally okay. I don't agree with it. I mean, that's definitely sexual minor exploitation, and something's got to be done about that. I mean, I understand that the kid is okay, nothing bad happened, he feels comfortable with it, the mom was okay with it, but there are so many other people not okay with it, and it's just a problem for me. I don't want to know where this leads to, because when do we start normalizing um you know other things? I hate to even go down that path, but we see it so many times where something starts off real small and they slowly baby step into other things, right? I mean, it just gets real gross real fast. And the more you slowly normalize these things and condition people for these types of things and make it, yell at them when they say this isn't normal and this isn't okay. And you start calling them like bigots or transphobe, or you just hate gays, or you just don't understand the culture. Like, no, I understand it. I think you don't understand the rest of the cultures. Okay. You can get down a slippery slope with this. And I'm worried at some point a child is going to be harmed. This one ended up okay, but that doesn't mean it's going to be okay for everybody. We live in a sick world, and I just worry that these kids can't speak for themselves in some cases. I mean, yeah, he seems happy, but he doesn't actually know what's going on. I do not believe that he understands the full repercussions of what's going to happen from this. Maybe not right now, but down the road. I mean, it just blows my mind, buddy. That's all I got to say on it. I'm not for it. I think it's real weird.
Yeah, I am deathly against this. I guess just use big scary words. I it's not normalized behavior, and more so the here you go, you're at the strip bar. Here you go, you're doing this type deal. And what happens? I mean, just look at the progression of a lot of things, and especially the way the media plays a lot of this. It's going down, dude, and it's gonna be something just absolutely shocking that we see. They're gonna be like, oh, that's just okay. That's fine. That's normal. The, people need to get back to some sort of sense of I don't even want to say morality, but a sense of ethical, um, gosh, what's the word here? Ethical, directional analysis. I don't know. That sounds like a fucking great name. But people just need to sit here and they need to protect the children. Okay. If little Billy wants to dress up as a cheerleader and wear a wig and shit like that, beautiful. I don't care. I don't care. It's not hurting anybody. The child's not going to get hurt dressing up like a cheerleader. They might get ridiculed at school if they wear that. But where I draw the line, and I think where you draw the line too, is whenever the exploitation is there and readily there. What happens? It just isn't one kid going into a strip bar stripping nowadays. There's probably more. There's stuff that we don't know about. They're probably being auctioned off. Think of the sick ass parents. Yeah, I'm against it, dude. I never want to talk about this again because it's like really pissing me off. I'm so mad right now, Michael.
You got your hillbilly mad face on.
Yeah, I'm about to like put on my coveralls and like go outside and like chop wood and
have a bush light and beat the wife.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm gonna wear my wife beater with the mustard stain on it. So so for all you Knuckle Dragon Billy Goat listeners out there, Mike and I are adamantly against this. So I guess once you guys and gals listen to this podcast and you have some differing opinions, we would love to hear them, respectfully, of course. Don't be like, oh, you guys are a bunch of idiots, or I can't believe you guys talk about all this stupid stuff or whatever. Be respectful, be kind. Don't let your kid dress up as a drag queen and strip in a bar. That's pretty much what I got to say about that, Mike.
All right. Well, as we wrap this up, like all you guys know, you can find us on Facebook at the Knuckle Dragon Billy Goat Review. We'll post this up on SoundCloud and iTunes. That'll be next Sunday when we post that. We'll pick a new topic and update you guys next week. Just like Josh was saying, we'll post this article up there on our Facebook page, and please feel free to comment. It's great to always get feedback from you guys on what you think, what you liked, your opinions. So until next time, thanks for listening to the Knuckle Dragon Billy Goat Review.